Talk-30. Reality is bodiless. Whatever is visible ultimately gets destroyed, but the true nature of the self exists eternally. Whatever is seen or felt ultimately gets destroyed, because we conceive or imagine all is visible. However, whatever exists is only memory. At night, when memory is held in abeyance, everything is erased. Dates or days are not absolute. At night, as soon as we forget ourselves, everything disappears. Sleep is a state where the world is forgotten. If one is worried about something, he will suffer from insomnia. The self never disappears. All that comes from remembrance and disappears through forgetfulness is not true. Concepts or the act of conceiving implies remembrance. The self, Atman, exists regardless of the existence of concepts. The self is the essence and is eternal. Atman is true, and there is no difference between you and the self. God's own nature is God's own being. The self is given many names in order to facilitate understanding. In reality, however, the self has no name and is present within and without. One who gets carried away by worldly affairs does not understand it. We ourselves are that, yet we do not understand it. The scriptures say that God is within all, and people try to see Him within. Yet trying to see in this way, one feels only darkness all around, because there is no sunlight within us. The scriptures say that whatever is visible is perishable. One's own self cannot be perceived. One who does not have a realized master sees only that which is visible. One must gain a proper understanding of one's own self through the Master's teachings. Everything is seen in one's own self, only by virtue of the self. Your form is like space. It is all pervading and cannot be grasped. The ego only proliferates when one tries to create divisions in the divine self, Atman, which is in fact completely indivisible. The ego produces all distortions, such as I am a man, a woman, I am rich or poor, I am happy. or I am miserable. The feeling of I am has its source in one's own self. But this subtle illusion makes one feel that one is the body. Illusion has its beginning there. If I call myself I, then there is no illusion. I am that I. I am that. Maya is ignorance, delusion. You are the source of Om. Om indicates Brahman. Maruti or Hanuman is the mind. One who functions behind the mind is Rama, the self. I will now tell you the sign of ego. To say, I am the body, is bondage. To say, I am not the body, is liberation. I and mine means bondage, and this is not mine, I am not, is liberation. Ego is the Hari who resides inside the four bodies. In the state of wakefulness, all that is seen through the gross body vanishes when the gross body disappears. Once the gross body disappears, there is no experience for him. In Hindu scriptures, there are four bodies. Bodies of the individual being, and four bodies of the universe. The first body of man is called the gross body. The second is the subtle body. Subtle means mind, intellect, and senses. The third is the causal body. And the fourth body is the great causal body. The four bodies of the universe are called Virata, or huge. Sometimes Hiranyagarbha, or golden womb, or ignorance, or Mula Prakriti. It is said that the disciple prayed to his master, "Tell me about that knowledge by which a man becomes Para Brahman, the absolute reality." And the master said, "If you come with me, I shall make you Para Brahman." Which means that he shall take one to that point of knowledge. You climb the four mountains, the four bodies, or what are also called the seven heavens. The gross body is the state of wakefulness. You discard that body and that state because you are not the body. If you consider the body as yourself, then you are bound. The body is mortal. If you call the body as your own, then who are you? Know Atman. Know yourself. In the gross body, every organ has its own name, and none of that is you. The intellect is Brahman, the creator. That this body is created by Brahma implies that it is created by the intellect. So Brahma is the creator. So let the intellect remain with Brahma. Next comes the subtle body. The consciousness, mind, intellect, eyes and ears are not you. They are yours. Possessiveness is the feeling that they belong to me. From the consciousness means from Vishnu. They belong to Lord Vishnu. So give them back to Lord Vishnu. The state of the subtle is the dream state. The temptation of worldly objects brings your downfall. If you leave this mundane world, there is nothingness. Yet something remains. That is the void, which is ignorance, or the causal body. The state of the causal body is sleep. There all is destroyed. Its deity is Rudra, and it is all dark here. Even though Shiva is the embodiment of knowledge, Rudra is the aspect of ignorance, which is knowledge and ignorance, or Shiva and Rudra are not separate, but coexistent opposite aspects, like two sides of one coin. Rudra is Shiva invaded by the night. To dispel Rudra, you have to awaken yourself and remove ignorance. Return this ignorance that there is nothing to Rudra. This is the third mountainous step of deep sleep, which is now left behind. Now there remains nothing. Only he who has transcended the three bodies remains. And this is awareness or consciousness. In other words, I remains. Now give up this I as well. I cannot be given up. He is always there in the three states described. This true I is the essence of Sat Chit Ananda, existence, consciousness, and bliss. In the state of wakefulness, there is both happiness and misery, as the state is the state of duality. But in the state of sleep, there is pure joy, absolute bliss. Thus, bliss is present only in the causal body. The great causal body is called Shiva, and sometimes Brahman. When Shivaratri, the night of Shiva, finishes, and Shivadini, the day of Shiva, begins, what is implied is that one has discovered one's true self, Atman. In the great causal body, you realize that I am Shiva, that is, God as pure knowledge. The jiva who is ignorant is present in the three bodies. Therefore, those who are jnanis say, I am knowledge, which means soham, I am he, or I am that, as well as I am the one who makes all the three bodies work. The one who practices eham brahmasmi, I am Brahman, diligently gets such an experience. One who says that he is the body has the desire for the body while dying, and therefore he takes birth again. The mind is the cause of both bondage and liberation. One does not become the body if this desire for embodiment is hazy. The desire has to be very strong. The subtle body made of Rajaguna faces God, faces reality on the one side, and the demon of ignorance on the other. Say, na aham, I am not, at least once. Then you will be liberated. This has been misunderstood as chant the name or chant Rama. Kashava is who is present in this shava or dead body. This I am is the fourth body, Turya. Go beyond this body as well. This subtle ego or I am, which is the same as God, is also destined to perish. Beyond this I am is Para Brahman, where there is neither bondage nor liberation. Sadashiva, or absolute reality, has neither bondage nor liberation. When you cross the four mountainous states, the four bodies, you are Para Brahman, the absolute reality. To say I am knowledge is also a state of mind. Without saying anything or remembering anything, you exist. In order that you understand the self properly, you were told to say, I am knowledge. To say I am Brahman is also ultimately egoistic, dualistic. Therefore, give it up. I am Jiva, I am Brahman, I am a Jnani, is all delusion. Para Brahman is neither knowledge nor ignorance, and beyond both. I shall tell you something more to make you even more aware of this ego. The night which has befallen Shiva is this ego. This false I or ego has been created from ignorance, and one must awaken from both knowledge and ignorance. To say I am of the nature of knowledge, I am consciousness, is also egoism, as well as I am Brahman is also egoism. True aspirants understand this ego, and there is no need to say, I am Brahman. The moment one says it, he is separated from self, as he has created duality. Instead of saying, I am Brahman in words, imbibe its meaning. Then you abide in Para Brahman. When one abides in this self, without duality, it is called absolute experience. All actions and rituals are meaningless unless one gets self-knowledge, Atma Vidya. The knowledge I am that is self-realization. The name and form of an object are not the object itself. For example, a wall which is really nothing but bricks and clay is still called a wall. All of the objects which are not ourself are untrue. They are mere words. Experience means I am that, and that is Brahman. To understand or realize that is the experience. When desire is overcome, only the self remains. Then there is no need to say, I am Brahman. For example, the eyes will see only if there is something to be seen. And if there is nothing to be seen, the eyes will still exist. Similarly, it is with Brahman, which exists even if it is not seen. This self is ever existent, without attachment, and without either knowledge or ignorance. This science has to be experienced by oneself. Leave off talk and try to gain direct experience. Vedanta means direct proof, or the facts as they really are. They are to be known or read only through direct experience. You have to experience that yourself. To know what is indicated is to know it through experience. Indicated implies to give up the expression of words. Experience the self according to what the Master has told you by thinking of the four great statements, the Mahavakyas. I am Brahman, Eham Brahmasmi, you are that, Tat Tvam Asi. All this is Brahman, Sarvam Kalu Idam Brahman, and supreme knowledge is Brahman, Prajanam Brahman. The Master explains these tenets for the disciple to gain the ultimate understanding. Analysis of the basic principles implies giving deep thought to the gross and subtle bodies and then discarding them. One must use the correct method to clearly understand and realize Brahman. A man who goes to see God eventually becomes God himself. No one can go to heaven by means of the gross body. Atman, the self, is beyond the four bodies and the three gunas. Analyze and inquire within yourself without any need for talk. Maintain silence. understand what the scriptures cannot say, and keep silent. All words become silent before the self. What is knowledge? It is that from which is not. What is ignorant? It is that which does not exist. It is not a ghost, not a demon. All words are in the negative. Brahman is really nothing. It exists only in concepts. But that which remains without thought is Para Brahman. Where the scriptures turn back saying, neti, neti, not this, that is Para Brahman. If after this direct experience one still tries to infer it, he is only being obstinate.